Welcome to the Note to Self podcast. I'm your host, Zoe Ariel, an adventurous entrepreneur who loves to make the most out of life. I'm a certified professional life coach, digital course creator, verified YouTuber, and published author. On this podcast, you can expect actionable tips, reflections, and inspiration to live your best, most fulfilling life. So, let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Note to Self. In today's Note to Self, I'm going to be talking to you about alchemizing energy to transform your life. So what I mean by this is that on the healing journey, we often find ourselves in uncomfortable, deep, or even dark places within where we're looking at our shadows, we're looking at patterns that feel uncomfortable, sometimes even nauseating. And as uncomfortable as these places may be when we find ourselves in those funks or those periods of time, is that it is actually only from that place that we can alchemize our own energy. And what I mean by that is that you might be aware of a certain pattern or a certain trauma in your life, but until you go down into those depths, you cannot actually transform, transmute, or alchemize it to create a higher vibration or a deeper level of understanding and of healing. So we cannot alchemize in the good vibes, right? As unfortunate as that is, I mean, I wish that we could alchemize deep things in the good vibes, but we're not prompted to at those times. And that's something that I really want to highlight to you today, because in my personal journey for the past few weeks, or the past month, I would say, I've really found myself in a lot of deep healing, where I have been prompted to look at things, where suppressed memories from childhood have come up. And I'm just going to toss in a trigger warning right here, because I'm not sure where exactly I'm going to go, but we're definitely going to be talking about trauma and abuse and how that can be transformed. So yeah, just putting that in there now. So if that's not something that feels aligned with you to listen to right now, then just be honoring of yourself and be gentle with yourself. So yeah, in the past few weeks, I found myself healing a lot of different things. I've had a lot of shifts in my external reality, and that has prompted a lot of looking deeper in things in my internal reality, and also in doing a lot of the nervous system work that I've personally been doing for the past year now. My body has found itself in a new level of safety, which is such a gift, because I never actually have fully felt safe in my body. And now that I've found myself in this space where I feel hypervigilance leaving my system, where it feels safe to just be versus doing or trying, and exercising my life from those spaces, what happens when the body feels safe is that the nervous system and the mind and the body start to then release suppressed emotions, suppressed trauma, suppressed memories, because now we feel safe enough to transmute and alchemize and, for lack of a better term, handle it, heal it. So this occurs because when we are younger and we face abuse, I myself grew up in a very abusive home under my mother's care, all different types of abuse. When I was younger, my little Zoe, she was abused on a regular basis, daily, under my mother's care. And that was a lot for a small being to handle, to navigate, especially from your primary caregiver, especially from your mother, the one person who gave you life. And when we're children, our parents are like God to us. They are all we know. And we have to connect with them as best as we can for our survival. And so having my mother as my mother taught me a lot of lessons. And it's been beautiful to see the sense of resiliency and the warrior spirit that I have inside, examining and further examining right now in my present life all of the trauma that I endured. So because little Zoe did not have the skills or did not fully understand how to cope, and it was quite shocking to the system when my mother would abuse me, I suppressed that. I suppressed the pain. I I suppressed the emotions. I suppressed the sadness. I suppressed the fear. And now that my body is feeling safe, it's time for me to unpack those things. So the body keeps the score. The body is always holding on to what we've experienced if we've suppressed it. And now that I have established this new level of inner safety and inner peace within, it has been time, it's been a season of healing for little Zoe to open up and unpack those things and really transmute and alchemize those energies that have been stored in the body. And if we do not address the trauma, if we do not address or open ourselves up to looking at what's in the body and what's feeling uncomfortable in our psyche, those things will be made manifest in our physical bodies, right? So one thing that I've been quite open with you about, and I shared a video about this on my YouTube channel in the last year, was how I actually healed my spine. Since I was a teenager, I was going to say for as long as I can remember, but it happened in my teenage years, was I was diagnosed with scoliosis, which means that my spine grew in an S shape. And I was told from that age that my scoliosis was unfixable and that my bones were deformed and there would be no way that I would be able to heal this. And that caused me a lot of pain for a very long period of time. But in the last year, being in Bali, I decided to open myself up to the possibility that this could be healed. And I didn't want to live in consistent discomfort. I didn't want to feel like I was walking around crooked all the time. And I have come to understand the incredible, powerful energy that the body holds, that the mind holds, especially when these things are working together. And naturally, as I open myself up to healing my spine and what that could look like for me in my life, the healers, the earth angels, they all come into play. And in this journey of healing my spine, if we look at the metaphysical anatomy of the spine, it's related to the mother. It's also related to the story, like the big root wound or story is not feeling supported by God, source, universe. So no wonder, as a young child, Zoe, and in her formative years, in her teenage years, developed scoliosis because the world that I was born into, I did not feel supported. I felt deeply afraid. I felt deeply ashamed. I felt deeply confused. And so as I've been on this journey of healing my spine, that's when I've actually started to be open to and welcoming up these suppressed memories from my childhood. And it's in these moments, as terrifying as it might be to witness the fragmented memories, to feel these deep energies start to show themselves and present themselves in the body. And I definitely highly recommend either having a coach to guide you through this, a therapist. I have a breathwork coach as well, a kinesiologist. I've got a really beautiful personal wellness team in place that has supported me along this journey. So I think that that's also important to note, is that once you sort of understand and witness yourself alchemizing your trauma and your energies, you can do that on your own. But it definitely is so incredibly powerful and helpful to have the support of others, of a personal wellness team, like I call it. But it's in alchemizing these energies, emotions, and trauma that we personally can discover a whole new levels of inner peace and freedom. And that has been the case for me. And this inner peace and freedom has naturally manifested in my spine healing. The spine that practitioners and doctors told me for years and years was unfixable. And I received that miracle. And that miracle was believing in myself, was opening myself up to the possibility, and just being willing to be there for Zoe, no matter what. Like believing in her, believing in my soul, believing that we had the power and have the power to transform our realities inside out. And so this has been such a beautiful journey for me. And I really felt called to share it with you today, is that wherever you find yourself, know that if you are in this time of healing, or if you ever find yourself just feeling low, or even just in a funk and not necessarily navigating trauma, or not necessarily understanding what the feeling is that's coming up, remember this conversation that I've had with you, and remember that if you hold unconditionally loving space for yourself and you allow these emotions to rise, you don't try to shift them, you don't try to suppress them, you just allow them to be and just be the gentle observer. It's in that space that you have the power to alchemize them. And sometimes it only takes like a minute. it's quite interesting. It's like these emotions feel so scary and so big and so heavy, but when you offer yourself unconditional love and they emerge, all of a sudden it just releases and integrates and you feel spacious and free. It feels like the thing that was causing the anxiety, causing the pain just no longer is there. And I've had instances where I have healed like my regressed spine almost instantly. I've had instances where I have healed headaches from doing it instantly. I have had back pain that I have just transformed instantly. And it's come from this viewpoint or this standpoint of being able to hold space for the self. I highly recommend having practitioners in place, life coaches, therapists, psychotherapists, different types of healers, whatever you feel drawn to. Your earth angels will make themselves known, and Source is always there supporting you and guiding you along the journey. And of course, I'm a life coach. If you feel the call to work with me, I would absolutely love to support you in this journey. And I'm here reminding you that you're never alone. No matter what you're moving through, you're never alone. And I love you so, so much. If alchemizing energies and your experience is something that interests you, I would love to invite you to a free 2-day workshop that I'm doing called Discover Your Best-Selling Stories. And that's going to be on October 4th and 5th. And we're really going to dive into the things that we've been through in our lives and or the creative ideas that we have, and just looking at all of the different potential stories we have to create something wonderful. For me personally, writing is one of the greatest tools to alchemize emotions. If I'm not doing that within the body, writing is so incredibly therapeutic. Those of you who have journals or keep journals on a regular basis, you understand this power of alchemizing your energy when you just get those thoughts and feelings out on the page. So let's take a look together and have fun brainstorming on all of the ideas, all of the things that you've been through, and starting to decide that maybe these actually get to work for you in a different way. Maybe they can work for you in your favor. Maybe you're just ready to write the book. Write the story about what you've personally been through and navigated, because that can and will naturally heal our world. So Discover Your Best-Selling Stories will be linked down below, and the replay will be up if you can't make the sessions live, but I cannot wait to see you all there, and I'm sending you so, so much love. Again, you're never alone. Thanks for listening to Note to Self. If you enjoyed this episode, please help me out by rating and reviewing this show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If my energy is resonating with you and you feel the call to work with me, there are an abundance of ways to do so. I offer one-to-one life coaching programs, mastermind containers, and DIY courses, all of which are available through my website, zoeariel.co. Until next time, take note of all the abundance that surrounds you as you make the most of this game called life.